It's another day, and we are still talking about the ways that God wants to change us. And everything begins to change when I recognize that He has a new call on my life, when He has a new plan for my life, because He's the new man in my life. When the disciples accepted the call to follow Him, it tells us in our text in Luke 5, both the beginning of the chapter and the end of the chapter. The beginning of the chapter is the call of Peter, and James and John are looped into the story. They also leave their boats and follow Him. They all do. And then the end of the chapter where Matthew is called, and he also leaves everything and follows Jesus. Yesterday we talked about the word follow meaning the same road, walk the same road. And when I walk the same road as Jesus does, I learn to let go of the things that I'm attached to that keep me from fully embracing who He wants me to be. That's what the disciples were choosing to do. They received this call to leave everything and follow Him. That can feel daunting for us. It can feel like they left everything. And in a very deep way, yes, they did. But I want us to drill into that a little bit more in order to give ourselves more of a perspective and context and ability to apply what it means for us to leave everything. I've been speaking to you about the idea of attachments. Attachments are things that I hold on to for my security or my significance or my approval. I hold on to someone's opinion of me or relationship with them. I put them as my highest priority because getting their approval is the most important thing, or having something I gotta have is the most important thing. And when I attach myself to any of those temptations, I fall prey to losing focus on following Jesus. So when it says that the disciples left everything and followed Him, that doesn't mean they left house, home, family. Think with me. The disciples, Peter, a few weeks ago, when we looked at his story in Luke 5, 1 through 11, Peter left everything and followed Him, but yet the ministry that takes place in Capernaum, historians say, was most likely at Peter's house. Did Peter leave his wife, his mother-in-law? No, he didn't leave them. Peter was a fisherman, right? As was Andrew and James and John. If we fast forward through Luke and we get to the crucifixion, when Christ is crucified, guess what the disciples do? They go back to fishing. Well, if they left their boat and their nets and all that stuff, how could they go back to it if they left it? They got rid of it. They liquidated it. Most likely they didn't sell their boat. They put it in storage. They harbored it somewhere, but they were easily able to go right back to fishing, which indicates they probably still possessed a boat. Matthew left everything, but the next thing we see, he's throwing a party. Where at? His house. The house that Matthew had was probably a big house. He had lots of dough because he was rich. He had already traded his reputation, traded his identity as a Jew that had some sort of religious loyalty and faithfulness to being a Jew that was ostracized and not even seen as a countryman, but as a traitor. You see, what he left behind was his occupation that had corruption. What he left behind was an identity as a tax collector. What he left behind was a life that was attached to all kinds of desire to acquire things over relationships. When we recognize following Jesus, it means get rid of whatever attachments hold us back from attaching ourselves to a heart like His, to a mindset like His, to a lifestyle that embraces others. Today, I want to encourage you to leave everything, to detach yourself from any relationship that you've got to have their approval over God's approval, their acceptance over God's acceptance. I invite you to leave any material possession that distracts you from making Him the prime possession of your heart. I challenge you, invite you to leave whatever it is behind, whatever identity as a professional, whatever your role is in society, for the role that Jesus wants you to have as a follower of Christ. Today, let us leave everything and follow Him. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. God bless. Have a great day. I'm glad you're on this journey with me. See you soon.